Carl Munson here from Expats Portugal, and this is number 14 of 1,000 Things to Enjoy in Portugal. Both sought-after city and municipal district, Aveiro is known by some as the Venice of Portugal, thanks to its canals, the historic and picturesque arteries that continue to pump its cultural lifeblood. Sea salt and ovos molos, the sweet, eggy local confection, abound as you move away from the waterways into hipster lanes, the Republican Avenue, and an absolute abundance of places and spaces to shop, eat, and enjoy. As you wander, you'll be treated to Art Nouveau and Romanesque architecture, of course, the colourful gondolas that once transported seaweed rather than tourists, and marvellous street art, as well as the techie vibe of an aspiring smart city. Make sure, too, to venture beyond the city to the beaches of candy-striped Barra and Costa Nova, just a short ride away. Well, bom dia, Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show from expatsportugal.com. I do hope you're a member of our community over there. Make sure you are at least a free member, become a premium member, and help a brother out. How you doing? Hank Stelica already in from California. Good morning, Hank. I love it. Messaging the show before we've even begun. Really appreciate that, Hank. And I know it's late for you, just getting ready to go to bed. An odd thing, Good Morning Portugal, just as Hank's about to go to bed. And he's always in here early and always a vital part of the community. That's what it's all about, getting involved in the comments, saying hi from wherever you are, as Nick Steinman is doing from Londres. Bon dia de Londres from Nick Steinman. Good morning to you. And from within the bounds of the nationality, the country of Portugal, is Joel Safiro or Seth 001. Sounds like an Ian Fleming character more and more each time we talk to him. That'll be Joel up there in Porto this morning. And look, Owen's here, morning. And he sent us this, everybody. This is fantastic. This could catch on. Let me put the details on the screen for this. And the voice message in the studio took off yesterday when Owen said hi. From his part of the country using this WhatsApp number, because you can send a little voice message. It's a really good way of communicating, saves a lot of typing, especially if your eyes are struggling a little bit. If your old eyes are struggling with those little numbers and you've got great big fat fingers and you can't quite use the keyboard, you can press one button and record a message and send it to me, which is what Owen did this morning. Shall we hear it? Let's have a listen.
Sexta-feira, de 26 de janeiro.
I think there's a deliberate mistake in there. Can you guess what it is? Here we go. This is Owen helping us out with the day and the date, which is obviously very important. Learning Portuguese here.
Sexta-feira, de 26 de janeiro.
The one vital word that I would question, I'm not meaning to pee on his chips because I love what he's doing, and his jingle for Philomena and Philomena Friday, who'll be with us this coming Friday, was fabulous yesterday, which was this.
Philomena Friday.
Philomena Friday. Coming up this Friday. Also saying good morning this morning, we have Mr. Austin. Bon dia, Mr. Emanol from Gary and Al Viagra. Nothing but love for you, Carl, says Hank. I'll right back at you there, Hank. And from Moscow. How is the temperature in Moscow? I mean, politically as well as meteorologically. We'll have a look at the weather in Portugal, of course, as we always do. But bon dia from Carolyn, who is in Moscow this morning, and Jimmy White saying good morning from Baltimore. How are you this morning, Jimmy? Let us know. And we have sun breaking through the early morning mist down there in the south of Portugal this morning, celebrating her birthday with Lita today. Sadly, not in the usual way. So parabéns a você, to you, Lita. Happy birthday to you. Yeah, and sadly not in the usual way. I guess you would be going to your favorite eatery, taberna or cafe, whatever, restaurant down there in the south of Portugal, and having a slap-up celebration meal. What are you going to do today instead, Paul? And I hope in some way we can compensate the situation with lots of love flowing from the Good Morning Portugal community to you, Alita, this morning. Have a great day. Owen saying, hold on a minute, where is that gone? I was up very late. I await my telling off on Friday. Sorry, Philomena. We know, don't we? Oh, when Matron Pascal comes to show due respect. And Owen's already off the mark there, ready for a telling off. On his knees already is Owen in front of in his mind anyway, Matron Pascual. So it is terça today, isn't it? Segunda yesterday, terça-feira today, 26 Janeiro 2021. But thanks, Owen. Please don't let me put you off. I think it's beautiful to hear your voice early in the morning and learn a little bit of Portuguese with everybody. So thank you so much for that. Paulo Mendes, good morning from Caparica. Costa Caparica, the Sol de Caparica. What a marvelous place. What a fantastic seaside resort Costa de Caparica is down there south of Lisbon. Good morning to you, Paulo Mendes, and that wonderful remake of the Ramones classic. What was it? The Son of California, maybe, but it was re-recorded by a fantastic Portuguese band, Sol de Caparica, one of my favorite discoveries of Portuguese music, and really summons up the summer vibe that we all love about Portugal as well, Sol de Caparica. Above 0 degrees this week. It'll get cold again, though, in Moscow from Carolina. And how is it politically? I mean, to see Navalny's protesters being beaten and swept up in the way they were, thousands of arrests, was very disturbing on the TV, Carolyn. Does that come near you? Does that affect you? I hope you're safe and well over there in Moscow. Hold on, just need to turn off the heating. That's a good thing, isn't it? In the last week or two, I had the fan heater going during the show, risking the acoustic backlash of the fan heater. But we can dispense with that this morning. Just take the chill off the room, and we can get rid of that now. However, it runs on. It's very disconcerting. It's a bit of heating engineering I'm not familiar with. When you turn a fan heater off, I expect it to go off. This one just seems to discharge itself with cold air, which seems to be a bit counterproductive. But anyway, Druba in Sintra this morning. Bon dia from a rainy Sintra farming family site over there in Sintra. And I hope all is well in your garden. The rain would have been doing your wonderful leafy green garden a lot of good, I'm sure, Druba, but maybe you're fed up with it now. Hold on a minute. I was chasing mice until 5 a.m. back to bed for me. I had a bit of a restless night. Our youngest was a bit fitful. He's all right this morning. He's giggling again, like, you know, it's rain or shine, isn't it, with toddlers? Yeah, I had a sort of uncomfortable night the night before last, as I reported, and then another one last night. And I'm not alone. A lot of people seem to be sleeping a little uncomfortably. Owen's situation not helped here by mice, who he was chasing around the room like a children's nursery rhyme. Until 5 this morning. You need to get a cat, mate. You need to outsource that sort of work to a cat. Or have you got one of those lazy cats that you've adopted who isn't really pulling its weight at the moment? Let us know what's going on there, Owen. Or are you leaving too much cheese out of an evening? Bon dia from a very snowy Chicago, with the emphasis on very, from Cindy Green this morning. Lovely to hear from you, Cindy. Yeah, that's proper snow, isn't it? I know there have been smatterings both in Portugal and my native UK, but you get proper snow there. How deep is it? How deep is your snow? To coin a Bee Gees phrase there. Hola, bon dia from Claire. Good morning, Claire. How are you doing? Great to hear from you this morning. Where's Louise? I haven't heard from Louise for a few days. If you notice that anybody has disappeared from the community, I mean, don't be a pest or anything, but let's inquire, shall we, in these times of challenges to our mental health and our social health. Let's look after each other. I haven't seen Louise for a little while. I must drop her a line. I hope if you're listening, let us know you're here, Louise. I thought you might turn up on the gardening show last night. We were talking to our in-house, our resident head gardener, Lee McGrady, last night on the Get Out and Grow project, into our second outing of that. And Lee talking about strategy in the allotment, thinking about what you're going to plant, what you want to eat, of course, which is the end game of gardening, as far as I'm concerned. Thinking about what you want to plant because you want to think about what you want to eat. And he was looking at the seed catalogs, getting the seed, and thinking about in the next couple of weeks getting a few seeds in the soil. Corn being one of them, which gives you a lot of bang for buck. He was talking about his wonderful situation of being able to harvest his corn, wash it in the outside under the outside tap, and pop it straight on the barbecue. That's what we're talking about, right? With the Happy Homesteaders. That was fantastic. And thank you, Lee, for your videos as well. I've got my sweet potatoes ready to be put into cut down plastic bottles and get them started. And there's a video about that as well on our YouTube channel. So we're getting going there, getting growing. On our YouTube channel. And of course, the short started with Aveiro. What I didn't say, although some people call it the Venice of Portugal, I cheekily refer to it as the Chicago of Chicago. Oh yeah, we've had a mention of Chicago, haven't we? We have our very own Chicago here in Portugal, Cindy. It is Aveiro. It can get a little bit of wind. You can get a bit of wind. It's not the Ovashmolish. It is the climate and its Atlantic coast positioning. Although it is set back a bit from the coast. You have to go to Barra and Costa, as I mentioned this morning. But Aveiro, what a wonderful city, and my pleasure to make a little YouTube short about it. Again, you can see all of those shorts. The Madeira one is up to 500 views now. So, and we're up to, I'll be making number 15 today. Only, 885 more to go in our epic journey around Portugal, showcasing all the wonderful things to do, enjoy, eat, drink, do and be, etc. So I'll be cooking a steak meal and sharing a bottle of Terras Demo of good choice this evening, and then watching a romantic Southampton versus Arsenal match. I bet Lita's delighted at that proposition. See, romance is not dead. That is such a beautiful thing to do for your partner and life companion there, Paul. What more could she want? Finishing the evening off with a bit of Southampton versus Arsenal action. Jimmy White, doing well, thank you, says Jimmy over there in Baltimore, hoping to get vaccination soon. Light snow in Baltimore too. Loving the international weather reports here. Rita's back in with us this morning. Rita Adonis, bon dia. What a foggy day. Remind us, Rita, where are you? It's always good to know where everybody is, as well as getting your lovely greetings. I don't feel comfortable talking about it on a public forum. Oh my goodness. Yes, forgive me for asking you even, Carolyn. Yes, how blithe and silly of me. Not comfortable talking on a public forum since the government changed the foreign agent rules to include individuals. It's not a good time to be outspoken in Russia. My goodness, what a chilling comment. But I totally get it, Carolyn. I will talk only about the weather from here on in. My goodness. Borodar from Elsa Riley. I'm here, but having to deal with work stuff and trying to listen at the same time. This is research, Elsa. Okay, it is research, and that is tea in the cup. You promise your employer. I had a restless night. Another one. What's going on? Is it the world vibes at the moment that are making people feel a little bit restless? So this means more snoozing in the afternoon, of course. That's the upside. Better afternoon naps, I think, if you've had a fitful night. But Gary did as well. I dreamed I was eating a giant... Oh, here we go. The old ones are the best ones. I could hear this doing its shoelaces up, Gary. I don't know. Which voice should we do this in? The voice of Bernard Manning, maybe? I had a restless night last night. I dreamed I was eating a giant marshmallow. When I woke up, I was puzzled because I couldn't find my pillow. Take my mother-in-law. Wish somebody would. Thank you, Gary. We have about 6 inches of snow on the ground, with a bit more coming today. The noise of the snowplows makes it another restless night in Chicago, and it's 3 a.m. That's why Cindy's tuned in, woken by the snowplow. That's a kind of romantic thing in its own way, isn't it? Or maybe not after the 14th night. I don't know. Bon dia from California, from TP Larson, who was in our gardening group. What do you want more of, less of, TP, in the gardening group? Great to hear from you, asking about which flowers work in Portugal. And we, of course, we were talking about the jacaranda, the wisteria, the hydrangeas, absolutely, and lilies. The lilies were Lee's favorite, weren't they? But I think the message that came across was it's important to experiment in the garden and share seeds with people, if you see what I mean. Safiro, Aveiro, Chicago, what the? I thought somebody... It's windy, the windy city of Portugal. I mean, come on, to be fair, Joel, it's not really Venice either, is it? I mean, people are over-egging the Ovashmolish a bit to make that comparison as well. I'm not knocking it, but really, it isn't. It's not. I haven't been to Venice, but from what I can tell, it's not exactly Venice, is it? St. Mark's Square, etc. But that's not to say Aveiro doesn't have much to commend it. I love the place, I really do. And was your tea spiked this morning, Carl? I don't think so. I made it myself. That would be pretty foolish, wouldn't it? To spike your... I know, but maybe that's what it comes to in lockdown. It's to get some excitement in the house. You spike your own tea. But I promise you, I haven't this morning. I'm just gonna... Do I need someone to taste my tea for me, like a Roman emperor, maybe? Hi, Carl, says Mark Jones in Australia. Do you have a contact who can advise me regarding commercial property investment in central Portugal? Yes, probably. Not an inquiry I've had before. But yeah, PM me. You see my email address is on the screen there, carl@expatsportugal.com, Mark. So yeah, give me a shout. That reminds me, this coming where are we? Thursday. We do have an online event, everything you need to know about buying or renting a house in Portugal. And that'll be with Peter van Lunen, who's a great friend of ours, who runs something called it was enjoyportugal.com. He's rebranding as the Portugal company, I believe now. But let me just share this on the screen with you so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Tell friends. I imagine a lot of you expats here have got a lot of friends who want to move to Portugal. You might want to do them the favor, you might not, of sharing this with them. And let me just take that voice message to the studio on WhatsApp, 351 off the screen for just a moment so we can have a look at this event that we've got on Thursday. Love these Portugal calling webinars. They're a lot of fun. Have a lovely community. Carolyn sometimes there. Everything you need to know about buying or renting a house in Portugal. Due to popular demand, Expats Portugal is pleased to have Peter van Lunen return as our special guest in this interactive online webinar event. Founder of Portugal Company, a real estate buyer's advocacy, or a person who works for you and helps you find your home. There you go. We all know what an advocate is, don't we? He has over 20 years of experience in the industry here in Portugal and keen to share his knowledge and answer questions from our community. So there you go. That's what we're doing Thursday before the wine club. Hey, wine ninjas, Gary, maybe would you mind popping the name of the wine that we've got on Thursday? Because we've got to be strategic in our wine buying, haven't we, when we pop out for our essential shopping, of course, part of which is wine for many people. Paulo Simões lived and studied at the University of Aveiro for 5 years. Amazing time, I bet. One evening I was with the family in Aveiro, and I think it was like Freshers Week, and there they were in the park singing in their capes, in their Harry Potter style capes. We know this about Portugal now, don't we? It's one of those Portuguese cultural cliches that J.K. Rowling was inspired by the capes that she witnessed when she lived in Portugal for a little while. Apparently, she wasn't inspired by that library in Porto. Not library, bookshop, which she turned into a library. But she was inspired, so we're told, by the capes that university students wear in Portugal. And you'll see them in Coimbra and Lisboa and Porto, I'm sure. But certainly in Aveiro, just sweeping around the city, like Batman in these long black capes. And one evening we were there in one of the parks in the city, and they were singing together in their Freshers Week. They were doing all kinds of sort of initiation exercises, I think, but part of it was singing as well. It was so beautiful. Aveiro, yes, so much to commend it. Fabulous city, hence the skyrocketing property prices. But it's a really good if you're an expat based in Portugal, and when I say if and when, isn't that terrible? The restrictions are lifted. Aveiro is a great weekend away if you are already here, and a great target. If you are coming here and you're exploring, got to pop into Aveiro. Okay, Paul found a bottle of Terras de Demo Pinot Noir. Going to save it for my wedding anniversary. Oh, okay. So he's talking to Paul there about the Terras de Demo Pinot Noir there. Who doesn't like a Pinot on their wedding anniversary? Thank you for that underarm delivery to me, Gary, which I battered out the park there, I hope. Bon dia, tourists from Atlanta, which is bizarrely warm, 68 this morning. Come on, what's that in old money? Cold front coming later tonight. Oh, dear. Enjoy that mildness then, Victoria. By the way, this is Tuesday. You probably know that, terça-feira, but Tuesdays on the Good Morning Portugal show, it's kind of consumer day. And it's a bit dry on that sort of news. So, I mean, feel free to let me know what you're thinking in the realms of, homes, property, business, livelihood. I mean, for a lot of people, it's going to be how to blimmin' survive, isn't it, economically? So I'm very open to talking about that. And I've got a couple of things to share from the world of social media. And, of course, a couple of Portugal resident stories about tourism in the Algarve and what are they called? Conservatorios. The registry offices are closing. To all intents and purposes, with a few exceptions. So I'll share that with you as well from a sort of consumer expat resident point of view. But anything else that's on your mind within that sort of ballpark of property and money and business, those sort of consumer issues, utilities. I mean, we had a really good night last Thursday on our Portugal calling webinar where we went into some detail for the sake of people who want to come to Portugal on all the major utilities. We even went into lenha, the firewood for burning on the wood burning stoves, alternative energy, all sorts of things in our wonderful conversation with a few of our Ask Our Expats team. It was really good. So you can catch that on the YouTube channel as well. But anything in that area that you want to continue to talk about, today is the day to ask it. Talking of homes and property, Valerie Spencer-Bex is here. It's a right miserable day here in, thank you for this, the phonetic pronunciation of Alfazarão this morning. It is a tricky one, that, isn't it? Just outside San Martinho de Porto. Going to do some work, some painting, some eating, some work, some painting. Oh, I see. And then maybe some eating and some painting. And then another cuppa. She got it figured out there as Valerie in Alfazarão. There you go. Philomena is here, everybody. Did you hear your jingle yesterday? Bon dia and sweet dreams. Oh, that sounds a bit gangster. Sweet dreams, Owen Lloyd Martin will teach you for getting the day of the week wrong. I don't think she means that, but here it is. If you haven't heard it before, Philomena, you've got your own jingle, thanks to Owen.
Philomena Friday.
Looking forward to your wonderful company on Friday there. Anyone else who wants to send a voice message or sing to me, sing to all of us, 351 913 590 303. Really cool feature on WhatsApp. I know lots of people are leaving WhatsApp. We might have to go to Signal or Telegram, might we, at some point, because we don't want Mark Zuckerberg knowing every minute detail about our lives. But anyway, for the time being, feel free to send a voice message. Simple as holding a button down and then putting that number in and sending it to me. And hopefully it'll be savory enough to play on air. Because if you mess about with that, and this is almost tempting fate, isn't it? I know where you live, because Mark Zuckerberg will tell me from your phone number, we can find out where you live. So don't mess about and prank me with phone calls. That is a red rag to a bull, isn't it? And voice messages. Okay, let's see what happens with that. So yeah, Philomena, we'll see you on Friday. She, of course, is the wonderful lady who joins us from time to time, addressing the language and the cultural situation for expats, including one or two faux pas. I don't know what the Portuguese is for faux pas. I'm sure we will be told. I'm in Correios, Margem Sul, south of Lisbon, 10 minutes from Caparica Beach. Love it down. All those wonderful beaches. Do you ever get down as far south as Fonte de Telha? That's my favourite, Fonte de Telha. You can get a lovely bus ride from the centre of town, from Lisbon, all the way down the coast to Fonte de Telha. Beautiful beach. A bit wild, a bit, sort of a little less kiss me quick, I would say, than Caparica, but nothing wrong with either of them. Bon dia. Hello, Penny. Rain here in Brixham. Boo-hoo. Yeah, she was bragging yesterday. Went, it's very warm here in England. Well, there you go. Boo-hoo. Umbrella needed for my run up the garden to my garden studio. What a lovely, lovely life she has there, designing jewellery in the southwest of the UK. And she is poised to launch the not the Bohemian Babes, the Boudoir Babes. The Boudoir Babes could well be the female equivalent of the Expat Man Cave. They are not gender exclusive or any malarkey like that. We're peddling a particular kind of vibe, which I'm sure you're well aware of by now in the Expat Man Cave. And Penny may well be creating a similar vibe, as the name suggests, among the Boudoir Babes in the she shed. That she'll be running up to and needing an umbrella for that this morning. So get in touch with Penny if you'd like to see an expat equivalent, a correspondent, the gender polarity. That sounds very now, doesn't it? Very millennial. But if you want to see the female counterpart of the Expat Man Cave, chat to Penny and make it happen, folks. Bon dia from Fiona Worrell. Full of gratitude for all of the help given to my daughter and her hubby, both mum and tiny human, doing better today. Oh, wonderful news. In case you're not up to speed with this, we had a little bit of an appeal on our hands. Mum went into hospital early, I think a few weeks early, right? But wonderful news is Zakai or Zakai. I've not come across this name before, Fiona. I thought it was Zachary, but mine might need a phonetic pronunciation of that wonderful name as well, unusual name, Zakai, which of course, if it's registered in Portugal, might raise an eyebrow, because you're strictly speaking, you're meant to choose from the list of approved names in Portugal. So that might raise an eyebrow or two. And why not? Zakai or Zakai was born in the last 48 hours and doing well by the sound of it. But Dad was unable to get home all sorts of complications, was a bit short of cash, and needed somewhere to stay near Leiria District Hospital. And somebody then launched a wonderful fundraiser. And I think they've managed to raise over 500 quid. So that dad and sibling can be nearby, and that stuff can be bought for mum there, whilst they can be close to the little baby, who's having all sorts of medical interventions and support at the moment. So we want to keep them together as much as we possibly can, and that's what the fundraiser was all about. And I think in the first 24 hours, really good reflection in these difficult times of how we can pull together and help people out. Over 500 quid raised very quickly there. So keep us updated, Fiona, with what's going on there with little Zakai, and the whole family, please. Paul saying, yeah, we'll look out for that. So that's the Pinot he's talking about. Bon dia, missed the garden show. No, you may have missed it live, but it's on the YouTube channel. Nothing missed there, Jenny. And of course, at the moment, we need your questions. It is a Q&A with Head Gardener Lee. That's what makes it a lot of fun. And of course, the Fresh Air team are there. It's a collaboration with the Fresh Air team in the UK. And that's helping people with additional needs, disabilities to discover gardening for the first time, possibly, and get a little bit of relief in the lockdown, get outside, get some fresh air, and grow their own food, doing all we can to encourage people to do that. Lydia Bassetti, big thunderstorms here through the night. Where are you, Lydia? Let us know. But it's so dramatic everywhere. Let's take a pause then to have a look at the weather in our part of the world here. Here in Portugal, certainly, and loving all these weather reports from around the world. But here in Lisbon, in the capital, 17 degrees is likely to be the rainy high today. Rainy high sounds like an American high school, doesn't it? A high of 18 for the rest of the week, but not so much rain. It looks like cloudy for sure in the capital for the rest of the week, but the rain looks like it might be letting up. Is the same in Porto? Yes, I think only 5 days out of the next 7 forecast for rain in Porto, and a high today of 14. Coimbra, a high of 16. Definitely getting milder, folks. Loving this. And yes, the rain forecast is letting up a little bit. Still remaining cloudy, but less rain on the horizon. Faro, we have 17 degrees for Paul and Nita and their celebrations. A bit misty, as Paul was saying, the sun coming to burn off the mist, and a high of 17 today. And you've been spared the rain by the look of it. And so, to look at things there for the rest of the week, not much rain, but plenty of cloud down there in the south, but very mild with highs of 19. Excellent. Okay, so that's the weather in Portugal. Let's keep going there with your comments. Fantastic. Morning from a damp CDP from Castanheira de Pita. The best utility deals we have found in Portugal are: 1, water, free from the sky. Here we go. Water free from the sky at the moment. 2, heat free from the sun when it's out. The sun, what's that? 3, social networking free on the village grapevine. There you go. That's a massive saving, isn't it? Thanks, Pete. Follow him for more tips like that here on the Good Morning Portugal show. Number 1, water from the sky. 2, heat free from the sun. Very Portuguese ethic, that, Pete. And 3, social networking free on the village grapevine. Natalie Pires, bom dia from the north of Portugal, Vila Praia and Sora. A rainy day here. Tell us more. North of Portugal, always underrepresented, Natalie. Tell us more about the part of Portugal that you're in and why we should go there. Mark is going to DM me. Yeah, we'll probably put you in touch with Peter actually there, Mark, but we're certainly happy to help. And of course, interesting thing at the moment, this is a bit on the consumer vibe. If you start a business in central Portugal, because the government are very wisely trying to repopulate and regenerate life in the interior, in the outback of Portugal. We have our own outback too here in Portugal. There are grants available for that. And of course, if you're investing in commercial property and you're bringing a business, that may qualify you for the D2 visa as well. So worth looking at that whole big picture there of immigration and investment, Mark. It's our pleasure to help you. Gary, Austin. Oh, hold a minute. Oh dear. That's a request, I think. I'm not going to read the whole thing out there, but I think perhaps that's one for Gary to gatekeep. Smythe Bien Etre is here this morning with a tale of woe there, and I can't see the whole message, but that I'm sure Gary is very capable of handling that at his end, so to speak. Hello, I'm always up until the wee hours of the morning 4:15 in Maryland now. But last night I was unable to fall asleep until after 9 a.m. Snowing here too. What's going on, everybody? Is it the Schumann resonance? Look it up if you don't know what that is. I mean, these are it's an important little. Sorry, I'm going to go full on hippie for you now. The Schumann resonance are the. I think. I mean, to put it sort of simply, are the general vibes of the world. Now, obviously, they are under threat and attack at the moment. And that's why it's important that the Good Morning Portugal show is a little beacon of light, as it is. This is what we do here, as far as I'm concerned. A very cheerful, joyful place. We're not Pollyannas. We're not sticking our heads in the ground, ignoring what's going on in the world. But I think it's very important to balance what is going on in the world in terms of the pandemic and the ensuing economic drama that comes from it. And it's interesting to hear so many people struggling to sleep, which is understandable. But we need to keep being very positive and light and joyful here as well, and keep that light blazing on the horizon of humanity. So yeah, but I hear you, Doreen. But normal, you're a night owl by the sound of it anyway. But this is an interesting phenomenon that we're discovering among us here. But keep those fires of inspiration and hope burning, guys. We are here together to support each other in that. Hola, Carl. Friday is going to rain again. Thanks, Mod. Gosh, what did I just say? But no rain, no wine. Fair play. True story. I was sound asleep one night. Do I do this in a Bernard Manning voice again? When I suddenly dived and took off across the bedside table, taking the lamp and glass of water with me. And did your false teeth go flying as well from that glass, Gary? I was so pleased I saved that penalty, though. Oh, Gary. Penny, I'll be tasting a non-alcoholic Negroni, or No-Groni, we were saying, weren't we, on Thursday? No-Groni, there you go. A mix of no alcohol, gin, Campari, and red martini style, no alcohol alternatives. Get on, as they say over there in Devon. That sounds like fun. The non-alcoholic Negroni, or the No-Groni, happening alongside the wine tasting on Thursday. Hank, hi guys. Only question I have is how reliable a price is listed on Idealista. I've been studying that site to get a feel for the market. Valerie, tell him, please. Yeah, there is I mean, they are, I would say, for guidance only. And it always comes down to the negotiation. And Valerie, I don't know if Valerie, Hank, Valerie, talk to Valerie. Also talk to Peter. Tune in on Thursday, Hank, if you possibly can, for our webinar and have a chat with Peter. These are the people on the front line of real estate and property who you should be talking to. But I'm sure we'll get some answers to that here on the Consumer Tuesday here on the Good Morning Portugal show. The utilities webinar was great. Oh, thanks, Carolyn. Glad you found it useful. And it was fun as well, wasn't it? Susan, good morning from a foggy Torres Vedras. Good morning to you, Susan. AR, here we go. This is the wine for Thursday night. AR Reserva Alentejo from Pingo Doce. But I got the wrong thing and bought some port instead. Duh. That is a real kind of blokey thing to do, being sent out to get the wine for Thursday and coming, but at least you got alcohol. It could have been worse. You could have come back with some gadget from the centre aisle of Lidl, couldn't you? Oh, sorry, I forgot the wine, but I did buy us a yogurt maker. Go to your room. You're grounded. Bom dia from north of Portugal. We're all grounded, aren't we, in that funny sort of way at the moment? Bom dia from the north of Portugal. Visions of knotted bed sheets come to mind so that you can escape into your own garden for 10 minutes. Bon dia says, this is Natalie. She is from north of Portugal. Working from home today. Tell us more, though, about Vila Praia and is it a hard sea or a soft sea? Ancora, Ansora. But we want to know more about the north of Portugal. Underestimated. The webinar was fantastic. Agreed, Caroline. That was for Thursday night. Fantastic. I have learned something so far is that so Joel has been trying, and we do have a message in. Who's this one from? Maybe it is from Joel this morning. I wonder, do I play this? Oh no, sorry. I don't know what that means. How much in percentage a merchant could get profit from goods products, please? I don't know what that means. Whoever sent me that, could you furnish that a little bit further? Look, Joel, we don't judge it. Well, we do judge, but we pretend not to judge or be too obvious about it. That's the nice thing to do, isn't it, in society? I have learned something so far is that I can't sing. Now, this might be because Joel has tried to sing me something and send it to me, Let us be the judge of that, Joel. Sing it anyway. Sing like no one's listening, and then everyone will be listening, and we can have a little appraisal of whether you are a candidate for Good Morning Portugal, The Voice. Hank saying, can I leave a voice message in an Arnold Schwarzenegger accent? Of course you can. I would expect nothing less. In fact, you have to. Anyone who leaves a message in the next 10 minutes, it must be done in an Arnie Terminator voice or any of his other popular movies, maybe Twins. But then again, he only does one voice, doesn't he? Belated subject. I'm thinking of starting a seed bank in San Miguel. Do you know if there is one already? I don't, but I think there's no harm in starting a new one, is there, among friends? And seeing how it grows, to use the horticultural analogy there. Put my name down for that. And Mrs. M, we're happy. We're seed savers. Well, she is. And I'll take a little part in that. But yeah, seed sharing, it is the trading of the future, folks. I've searched the Portugal seed sharing page and didn't see any reference to the one in the Azores. So it would have to be by post, wouldn't it, for us to work together, Carmen? But I've not heard of anything in the Azores for seed sharing. And wouldn't it be exciting, if indeed allowed, for seeds to be sent across from the autonomous regions to the mainland? Is the Portuguese? I guess the Portuguese are relaxed about that within with their own country, right? Or autonomous region to mainland. I know the Australians take a very dim view of carrying flora from other countries, and you can understand why as well in that instance. But anyway, yeah, Carmen, I'm all for it, and we'd be happy to support you by post for sure from here, from Anadia and Aveiro. Idealista is an amalgamation site of estate agents. Normally you can negotiate on house prices, but it really depends on the posting, says Nick. Thank you, Nick. That's helpful. It gives you an idea of prices, but you need to visit and see a number of houses to compare. Great advice, Nick, to Hank there, our friend Hank. We'll send a song, but in Portuguese, and wait for your translation. Bring it on, Rita. But remember, it's got to be done in an Arnold Schwarzenegger voice, at least for this show. Only kidding. If you're going to send me a song in Portuguese, you can do it in whatever voice you like. Bon dia from Alice. Oh, there she is. We talked about Peter. Alice, who works with Peter, a wonderful couple who are the Portugal company. Good morning to you, Alice. Lovely to hear from you, and looking forward. Will you be dropping in on Thursday with Peter as well? And looking forward to having lunch with you again, you two. It seemed like such a simple thing to do back in the old days, didn't it? To have lunch with people, and now it just seems like a mythical thing. Bizarre. Also tried Green Acres and Cairo. Another recommendations there for property. Alice may well have something to say about to you, Hank, about Idealista. So sounds like a good launching point then, Nick. And then actually visit the neighborhoods to dig a bit deeper. Yes, I think that's right, Hank. In California, Boudoir Babes Unite. It is going to be a bohemian kind of business there, isn't it, with the Boudoir Babes? I will be eavesdropping on that. I mean, I don't say that in any kind of creepy way, because they do it to us. There's a lot of women now who tune in to the Expat Man Cave. Some take an active part, like Victoria does from time to time. Others are lurking in the background, like matrons, just ready to come in and clip our ears if necessary, or our wings, as we have a drink in the virtual pub that is the Expat Man Cave and talk about stuff that's important to us blokes. And then we get the occasional, what would it be, point of order from the women who are tuned in and just lurking there. And we forget they're there and we say something inappropriate, and then they'll be there to just, put us straight. And we're looking forward to returning that favor, folks or ladies, in the boudoir babe scenario, the she shed. But you're all talk, I have to say. You're all talk, really. Where is this Boudoir Babes she shed? Come on. Rita Adonis, yes, Fonte de Delia is my personal beach. Look, we're talking to the owner of Fonte de Delia. That's amazing. Didn't know you knew it. Oh, I so do. I lived at Aroeira for a little while, which I also recommend to people. What a really brilliant turn up for the books that was, living on the Aroeira Golf Resort. Didn't see that coming, but massively enjoyed that. Yep, there's always an average price when you go out to the market, when you go to the out of the way villages. Okay, says Nick, it becomes harder to determine what is reasonable and is a market price. Yeah, it does get a bit Wild West, and then it is down to the negotiation. And that's why you need somebody like Alice, who is an expert in such negotiations. Seriously, Portugal company, check out Alice and Peter. You can find them via our business directory on expatsportugal.com. Could be a great help to you there, Hank. Lydia Bassetti, North Georgia, USA is where she is from. Fantastic. Great to hear from you from North. So many Americans with insomnia with us at the moment. It's great for us, and I'm very grateful to you. Oh, this was the thing. This came through on WhatsApp. What is the percentage? I don't know what you're gonna have to tell us a little bit more there, Engar Muhammad. Fiona, you are saying his name right, though none of us quite know how to spell it, says Grandma. Phonetically, he is Zakai. Zakai, interesting name. What are the origins of that then, Fiona? Tough looking for a proper rental remotely. Idealista seems a good resource, but prices seem to be jumping around quite a bit these days, as they will. Volatile times. Again, this is why you need an expert negotiator, someone who knows the territory here, I think, to give you a little bit of help. And somebody on that call on Thursday had bought a property without coming to Portugal. This is what I think this is going to happen more and more. You know, people are keen to just get going, get cracking, get sorted. And if you can't come, people are prepared to take that sort of risk, it would seem. I don't know what you think about that, Valerie and Alice, whether, I mean, you know, obviously it's their choice to do that. And video viewings can be arranged, but obviously there is a possible potential downside to buying blind like that. What do you reckon? Would you do that, folks? Here talking about such things on Consumer Tuesday here on the Good Morning Portugal show. Hi, Carl. What is the I and number next to the live on my screen? Oh, that tells you how many people are watching. Not watching you in a creepy Big Brother sort of way, but I think generally speaking, at the moment I've got 60. I can tell if I put my cursor on the eye, it tells me that there are 25 people on YouTube, 15 on Good Morning Portugal Facebook, and 21 on Expats Portugal. And I'm so delighted. Given this little niche we've got, so many people do tune in live, and I'm very grateful to you. But that's what that is, Susan Renshaw. Telling you what's going on, and also the emoticons. I guess that's pretty straightforward. But can we have a few more of those? If you're in a position where you're not driving or doing something that could be dangerous, can we have a little bit more? Let's have a virtual hug now. Could everyone press their love button? Can everyone press their love button right now and shower everyone with a virtual hug here on the Good Morning Portugal show? Those of you who don't like hugging in real life might be quite awkward and uncomfortable about that, but we're going to do it anyway. It's virtual, for goodness sake. What could possibly go wrong? I'm not seeing them yet, though. Come on, can we have a few taps on the screen, please? Eric Willingham, Ferragudo forecast is easy. Every day is just amazing here in the best place to be. Oh, controversial talk. I'll probably be backing up Peggy there, won't you? Prosecco Peggy, in your very fulsome praise of Ferragado there. No, definitely can't sing, says Joel in Porto. And Mark Rigby's here from up north as well. Bon dia from Povoa de Varzim. Good to hear others in northern Portugal on the Good Morning Portugal show. Absolutely. Okay. I think we've got someone spamming people in. Could you just, I'm going to ask you nicely, okay? Please stop spamming our guests here and listeners to the show. It's boring, and it's probably not going to get you what you want. All right, I can see someone is doing that to everybody now, and I need to find a way. I wonder if I can block them, because I will not tolerate that. I'm very open-minded, as you know, and very I believe it to be mais bien être. So I'm just going to delete that comment. I'm doing it live on air, getting a bit. I haven't managed to block the user, but please stop doing that. It's boring. We don't need that here on the Good Morning Portugal show. And so let's go back to there were loads of comments, but mainly one comment repeated 30 times for every listener this morning. Oh dear. That's one of the pitfalls, isn't it, of social media? But we're getting used to it, I think, and we have our ways of dealing with it. Okay, tough looking for a proper rental remotely. I think we've done that bit about the property prices jumping around from Victoria. Thank you. And Ferragudo, that forecast, we got that. Eric, anybody want to challenge Eric on that? The best place to be. Bon dia from Calimera, from Olga. Good morning to you. But Calimera's nice, but it is cloudy by the look of it this morning. Yeah, number of people viewing live is what's going on there. Yes, and the insomniacs are reaching out to each other. Fellow insomniac, hi. Maybe my style is an insomniac cure, and the word is getting around on insomniac forums that if you want to get to sleep in America, just tune into the Good Morning Portugal show. Maybe. I'll take all the listeners and viewers I can, insomniacs or not. Fiona, we're moving into the. Here we go. I came out the closet there, didn't I? Briefly as a hippie new ager, and I think it's just open season now. We're moving into the age of Aquarius, affecting energies for sure. And we've declared the age of Aquarius to be. Didn't we do that on the show already? And it's affecting the energies for sure, says Fiona, and sleep as well. Alice is saying bon dia from the Portugal company, from Pedro Grande. Alice and Peter van Noonen. Yeah, check them out on the business directory. I feel the need to put the link to that now so that you can find Peter and Alice, who's joining us this morning, the business directory. Here we go. I will pop that across to make it nice and easy. I'm allowed to spam my own show, and I'm just about to do it now. So there you go. Doreen is saying, I'm actually more of a Vespertine. This is a new thing to me. One who comes alive and flourishes in the night. I didn't know. I would use night owl, but I love that. That sounds a lot cooler than night owl, doesn't it? Vespertine. I usually fall asleep as soon as I go to bed. That's amazing. So you just got a different rhythm to everybody else, Doreen. Amazing. Maria Costa, late to arrive, but good morning. Hi, Maria. I did the Monsanto video for you, especially yesterday. Talking of Consumer Tuesday, shall we all boo EDP now or after we've read this comment? We're actually waiting for EDP rep to arrive to do our yearly checkup. That never happened in the USA. So that sounds like a good part of EDP customer service. And but EDP, honestly, what do you like? So expensive. Let's hope that spamming has stopped now. Getting here late again. Good morning, people. We were talking about you earlier on, Lee. All good stuff, of course. Here he is, our head gardener, Lee McGrady, working around as a professional gardener around the Lisbon area. If you need such services and advice on gardening, Doreen Ray's fall asleep as soon as you go to bed, says Hank. Teach us your ways. Yeah, that is a really good thing to be able to do, and a good thing to be able to teach kids. Actually, I was talking to my eldest who was struggling to sleep the other night, and I was talking about breathing. Counting the breath in, hold for a certain amount. No, Gary, not 100, just 5. Then breathe out on 5, and then slow it down. But just regulate your breathing. And I think the mindfulness of focusing on your breathing is often enough to get us to sleep, isn't it? Let's have a look. Yes, it was mine. Oh, what was that? What's he owning up to there? I wonder. Definitely can't sing. Oh, this that I wish I'd blocked that user rather than just deleted their comment. I can't find out how to do that now. Here we go. A few glasses of karaoke juice, says Gary. Joel, and you'll sound like Frank Sinatra, at least to yourself. It's amazing how that works, isn't it? Carmen says, I'll do some research on the feasibility of swapping mainland and islands. Yeah, the wonderful thing about seeds, of course, they're so light to send, aren't they? So cheap to send. And, you're not going to lose anything. If they go missing, unlikely that you're going to be losing a lot of money. Obviously, you're losing the value of the seeds, as in their food value, but you're not really losing a massive cash investment. Lovely things to send around. Maybe the pen pals of the future will be seed pals. Doreen Race, might be because I stay up until I'm completely exhausted. Well, that's one way of doing it. And Fiona says, I get the best spam. Yes, I think that's stopped now, which is good. Thunderstorm rolling in Atlanta. Live news coverage in America there. Andre Ajandi added some of my suggestions to the top 100 places in Portugal. Hope some of them get on the list. Yeah, Andre, thank you for that prompt. I mean, those who shout loudest or latest often get picked. So thank you. Really appreciate that, Andre. What's your handle to use CB Talk in there on the forum? Thank you, really appreciate that, and I may follow you for inspiration this very day. For me, I plan to rent for the first year at least. I'm seeing some reasonable stuff for 500 to 700 euros. You will, Hank, you will get that value. Natalie Pires, north of Portugal is beautiful, green and quiet, great beaches. Yes, Costa Verde, right? Very humble people working from home. My own insurance company, expat focused. Natalie, forgive me. I haven't responded to correspondence from you. We must talk. Yes, PT and UK plates as well as home. Nice cheeky little plug there. No problem with that. So a bit of a specialist insurance service there for expats. And Hank is thinking of going to around Coimbra. Yeah, but excellent base camp Coimbra, but all over the place, really. Oh, that's nice. Thank you, Maria. And oh, here we go. These are the hearts coming in. That's wonderful. Thank you, Gail. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you, Gary, even for your black hearts this morning and good vibes being sent. Oh, that's wonderful. Wow, lovely. Thank you, everybody. Just catching up with that now. Rita's asking, when buying properties here, not asking, she's telling us a bit of advice here from somebody in the Azores. You should visit it personally and more than one time. Ideally, you would, wouldn't you? You might get surprises on the second visit, especially if it's old houses. Yeah, when you take off your rose-tinted property viewing goggles and put emotion to one side, she's absolutely right. It's so easy to fall in love. Who here has fallen in love with hundreds of old Portuguese properties? It is a habit you do eventually grow out of, especially if you've, I think, bought one and tried to do it up. You got to cure yourself of that. But it's so easy to fall in love with old Portuguese properties in central Portugal. Who's done that here? Is it the one from Madame? I think, yes, I think we've sorted that out now, Gary. Bon dia, we got up late, says Pete. Well, fair enough. Why not? Thanks, Doc. This is interesting. Why is it saying thanks, Doc, when we're pressing the heart emoticon? But I'm going to go with it anyway. I'm not a real doctor. And I've promised I've never pretended to be a real doctor or had to say I'm not a real doctor ever, I don't think. Hank Stellica, sometimes you might get a chance of a mixed rental contract. This is good, says Antonia. Antonia is always great for advice here. You rent the place for a year or two. If you buy it, part of the rent paid is deducted from the agreed price. I see this more and more in Portugal. And obviously in these economic times, that's a really good idea. Obviously, you want a good lawyer to sort that out, and it might be worth having more than a handshake on that. Although I'm not saying handshakes aren't good in Portugal, but that's the sort of thing where you do want to get it pretty much a bulletproof contract right on that sort of thing. But that is a really good shout, Antonio, on how that happens in Portugal. Really great idea. And you obviously find out if you like the place, and if you do, the rent you paid in those first 2 years could be deducted from the agreed price. All about the negotiation there, of course. Good morning from a dreary UK from Matthew Tiller. Good morning, Matthew. Pete says a nice testimony here and an endorsement of Peter and Alice. They're awesome. Highly recommended from me and Diane. That's lovely to hear. Ever since you declared the age of Aquarius, it has stopped raining. So all it takes, Gary. Glad to be of assistance. You're very welcome. Mrs. T, Chris's great friend, Mrs. T, cooks up a nice bit of spam. Lovely spam. Random, but welcome. Talking of vibrations, I love understanding the different vibrations of gemstones for both meditation and jewelry making. Yes, you see, it's not just about the show, is it? Or the investment in precious stones. These things, of course, it's like silver, isn't it? I mean, there was a really good reason why people use silver to eat from. It's because it has antimicrobial, antibiotic properties. You don't hear much about that, do you, in the pandemic? All the wonderful things we can do for our health, rather than this constant deluge of fear and agony and doom and depression and all the dark sides of it. So you make a very good point there. And that's the sort of thing that would get me banned from Facebook, is even putting crystal and pandemic in the same sentence. But I do think it's worth being more open-minded about these things and not underestimating the power of these things. And of course, it might be placebo, but the more you kind of arrange your mindset and your vibes around things that you feel make you positive, help you to feel positive, it's got to help on some level, isn't it? And we are talking about a holistic picture here, if we're sensible, I'm sure. Doreen, Carl, your show is the cause of me staying up even later than usual. It's a good thing, as I really enjoy it, but bad for my beauty sleep. I'm so sorry, Doreen, to rob you of your beauty sleep. I don't know what to say about that, because I don't want you to go. But I promise, we'll try and keep it behind the 10 o'clock barrier. We haven't even looked at those news stories, but we've talked a lot, I think, about consumer stuff, which is good, which is what it's meant to be about on a Tuesday. Me, says Susan. I'm not sure what that's about, but again, random, but thoroughly acceptable. When I bought my house, I'm sure it got bigger, says Gary. Which is a fantastic comment and one I'm going to leave alone. Hank, thanks for the tip on Rent to Buy. I'll keep my eye out for that. Yeah, or even ask. I guess you could sweeten a deal for yourself, couldn't you, by even introducing the idea to a vendor and making it part of your negotiations. To say, look, I'll rent it for a couple of years. How's about that? And then we could do a deal after that. Worth remembering, Hank. So Black Shamrock coming in. From Jerry there from Expats Portugal. Thank you for all the emojis and emoticons on there. Just trying to explain there to, was it Susan or was it Fiona that wanted to know about the all-seeing eye on the screen? Yikes. Rita Adonis, I meant that you might get surprised on the negative side. Yeah, absolutely. Of when buying houses. Old houses might need a lot of investment for improving. Yeah, absolutely, Rita. Point well made and well taken and should be remembered by people. We then sold and rented a new property for 2 years and then bought. Very happy. Yeah, I think the rent buy combo is a good one, isn't it? And it's certainly good to have a rental base camp before you make your final decision, if you can. Not everybody is in that position, of course. And Penny swears by colloidal silver. I've been using it for years. I think it's great stuff. Tell us, is it even allowed to talk about colloidal silver anymore? Tell us about this beautiful home you have for us, please, says Pete. He's queuing me up there, Pete. Not yet. Antonio F. It's great when you like a place, but don't know if it really fits you. So you have a chance to find out before buying. That's the system, the 2-year rental system. I don't think it has to be fixed to 2 years, even, does it? But you're right, Antonio. Really good idea there that you're bringing up. Kathleen, Kate Gimblett is here. Our economist who we spoke to last week. Bon dia from foggy Selanova. Purchasers should be aware of any house pull outbuildings until their lawyer has ascertained all the buildings are legal. Good call again. Hank replying to the me, shutting out you. I see. Yes, the falling in love with an old property, says Susan. Yes, me. She's done that. Yeah, thank you very much. Waiting for Carl to hydrate. Okay, hold on. There you go. All done. Kathleen Gimlet, I'm definitely going up with the professionals as a guest in the country. Don't want to screw anything up. Yeah, good call, Hank. Get the help with that water has caused more problems than it's cured. Hold on a minute, I'm just gonna have a bit more. and mute and not muting my mic appropriately there. Sorry for coughing on you. Can we have Kathleen back on again, says Penny. Will you come back to see us, Kathleen Gimblett? Will you join us again? Because I really enjoyed that. And when are we dancing next? A request for dancing, which is do we need to do another man cave disco? I wussed out last Friday night doing the man cave disco. It was going to be an indie disco. That might have been something to do with it. Actually, I prefer myself chair dancing to soul and funk and that sort of thing and disco. But okay, I think there's a call there for the indie disco on Friday night after the Expat Man Cave. And we are coming up to 10 o'clock. The stories I wanted to bring you from the Portugal resident were actually, I will do this very quickly because it's quite important, and then we'll leave it there. We won't talk about the hopes for Algarve tourism because it's a lot of speculation there. But have a look at this, if you will, for a moment. This is important if you are hoping to go to the registry office of Portugal, known as Conservatórios here. They moved from by appointment only to temporarily closed, I have to tell you, on this Consumer Tuesday. And I'll just give you a little bit more on that in just a moment. But I want to put another banner on the screen. Yeah, help us out by becoming a premium member at expatsportugal.com/upgrade. And let me take that big appeal for voice messages off the screen. But do that as well. Please do send me a WhatsApp voice message. It doesn't have to be while we're on the show. It can be at other times as well, which actually gives me a chance to vet them as well, which could be useful. So just finally then, Portugal's Conservatórios e Registros, the government departments dealing with myriad bureaucratic details, thanks to Natasha Don, for this from yesterday, are to move from by appointment only to temporarily closed as a result of the current situation of the pandemic. The announcement was made by the Syndicate of Workers, I guess that's their union, isn't it, at said registry office of Portugal on Monday, and it came into immediate effect. Only essential services are to be offered until further notice, to be outlined in a ministerial dispatch. These are believed to include the registration of certificates of birth, death, and marriage, the drawing up of wills where risk of death is imminent. That's grim, isn't it? Requests for citizens' cards for newborns and renewals of such for minors under the age of 25, where these are urgent or extremely urgent. So only urgent business, it would appear. The Conservatorios y Registros says sick today. The Conservatorios will also continue to emit and deliver provisionary citizen cards, permanent citizens cards, and urgent or extremely urgent passports for health professionals. Otherwise, all appointments are cancelled. If you had one of those and it's not urgent business, that is cancelled for the time being. When are finances going to do that, I wonder, and cancel all tax payments? They really should, shouldn't they? Or at least give us a bit of a break on that. So there you go. That is the final piece of news for this morning. You've all been marvellous, as usual. Maybe one or two final comments to come in here. Kate says, if you want me back, it would be churlish to refuse. Excellent. I'm going to take that as a yes. And Hank Stalica, a thumbs up. Is that for the indie disco, I wonder? Or just generally in life? One hand in my pocket and the other one's giving a thumbs up. It's also quite common in Portugal to put down a deposit and then pay monthly or even quarterly once a year till this balance is paid off. Obviously, some risks if you default on your arranged payment, the seller gets to keep the money. But to me, it's a load better than a mortgage company keeping it. That's news just in, Fiona. That seems thoroughly marvellous to me. And again, something you want to structure appropriately and legally. But that does sound like an old-fashioned kind of a village agreement, and quite right too. And you know what? One of the many things I was considering we might talk about this morning, and I did hesitate because we, as I was saying before, I hope we are a source of inspiration, support, hope, and light on the horizon. For creating your wonderful future in Portugal. Basically, that's what we're here to help and support people to be or to come to Portugal. And you don't want to be too much of a downer on that, do you? But then again, you don't want to be Pollyanna-ish, as I always say, and avoid what's around. But we are, I think it will be, again, foolish to ignore the economic situation for so many people. And I did see a very very inspiring but very sad message on a social media forum from a family who've moved from South Africa. And they're really struggling here, but they are saying how much better it is for them to be here than it is in their native South Africa. And they are spending more than they're earning. And it was a post, it was one of those posts that came up asking people, come on, give us the truth here. Have you come to Portugal and are you broke? Are you brassic lint now? And this is what was being discussed. And this wonderful man was talking about this situation, how he's going to make it work in Portugal. And we have to face up to this, don't we? That it doesn't, the upside dream, the utter positivity with which we come to the country, it has been challenged. It does get challenged anyway. That is the way of the expat, isn't it? There are curveballs and things that happen that you don't figure on. But there are added dimensions now. The pandemic, of course, and the economic effects of the pandemic. And this is what I was reminded by your comment there, Fiona, about basically that's a private mortgage with an individual. And maybe I was thinking, how do we help each other and support each other in this time? We need to know about the safety nets, don't we? As expats, who's in the situation where they really have hit a wall and they've gone to the government maybe for help. They've paid social security contributions, and how does one go about that? We need to make that less of a taboo, and we need to, I think, help and support each other. And it occurred to me, it's like, when might a credit union appear? It's these times, isn't it, when there might be an expats credit union, there might be an expat bank that starts. And as we acknowledge, I think, that many people find themselves out in the cold in relation to the conventional and known finance system, because they may struggle to meet the terms of conventional and commercial lending. We need to come together and make it easier for people as on more of a community basis. So for some food for thought there. But I was very heartened by what's happened with Fiona's daughter and son-in-law and the new grandchild. People rallied together. That family were in trouble in some ways, logistically, how to be together around Lera District Hospital with the baby in the is it called a neonatal unit? In the care of the hospital, mum nearby, and there was a question as to whether mum could stay near baby and whether the rest of the family could be in the area. And people rallied round, and they raised 500 quid in 24 hours, I think, to make that possible for that family. Are we going to see more of that? I certainly hope so. Are we going to see more formal things occur in these difficult times, like credit unions, and being able to help each other out? I think the money's there, isn't it? The money hasn't gone anywhere. More of it may have gone into fewer hands, but the money's still around somewhere. And I was thinking, what's the missing ingredient with this? And presumably, it's trust, isn't it? We need to. This might be the making of us as we learn to trust each other more and take a risk, because we just can't bear to see each other suffer and struggle. So that's my parting thought today. I don't really know where that came from, but food for thought. Leaving that with you on Consumer Tuesday of the Good Morning Portugal show. I mean, that's what it really comes down to, right? Is the human connection. It's not all about the money. It's about humans being humans, and the best in us and the best of us coming to the aid of others. Great idea. Communal support is needed, says Doreen Reyes. And that mortgage idea, yes, definitely more possible for rural properties with land, from what I've seen. Yeah, and to be frank, I mean, what else are they going to do with that empty property? Surely it's better to have someone in it paying you a private mortgage than for it to be further dilapidated and going to nothing. The government, says Kay, is hard pressed to deal with current events. Portugal now has the steepest rise in COVID infections in the world. Info from John Hopkins World Statistics there, Kay. Yep. And we have to see that in context, don't we? I think, we are seeing that. There's no getting away from that statistical point of view. And we also have a lot going for us. And there are many parts to the conversation that I think we're also overlooking as well. But that is right, Kate. Have a chill week. Everyone stay healthy. I think Hank needs to go to bed, everyone. So we should go, as does Doreen and everyone else in the United States. Thanks for being with us, Insomniacs Anonymous. And we'll be back again tomorrow morning. Ask anything about Portugal is what we do on a Wednesday. See you then. And sleep well, you people who are going to bed, and you people who are just getting up here in Portugal, by the sound of it, the latecomers. Have a great day, and I look forward to being with you in the morning. Take care. Bye for now. Beijinhos, abraços, até já, até logo, até amanhã.